Ethiopia, a sound recognized around the world, a golden age of creativity that birthed legends and a genre all its own, Ethio-jazz, a legacy of soul and funk that echoes decades later. But for the artists of today, that legacy doesn't pay the bills. This is the reality for many musicians in modern Ethiopia, forced to become their own manufacturers, immensely talented, culturally celebrated, and struggling to survive. The headlines tell a story of crisis, a story of an industry broken by piracy, neglect, and a system that has consistently failed its most important asset, the artist. So how did we get here? How did a nation of music lovers build an industry that doesn't love its musicians back? This is the story of that failure and the search for a solution. To understand the crisis today, we have to go back to the beginning, to swinging adders. In the late 60s and early 70s, a cultural boom, fueled by a fusion of Ethiopian tradition and Western funk, created a sound that was electric. Pioneers like Ahmed defied imperial restrictions to launch the country's first independent record labels. But even in this golden age, the foundation was fragile. Recording technology was limited, distribution was informal, and the concept of artist royalties was virtually non-existent. Then, in 1974, everything changed. The Derg regime came to power. Artistic expression was censored, nightclubs were closed, many of Ethiopia's brightest stars were forced into exile. The industry didn't just slow down, it broke apart. This was the first great failure, and it created a vacuum that would define the industry for decades to come. When the industry tried to rebuild in the 90s and 2000s, it ran headfirst into a new, more insidious problem, the digital age. And the first and most devastating blow was piracy. The transition from cassette to CD and then to digital files made copying music effortless and free. Studies have shown piracy rates exceeding 80%. For every one person who bought an album, countless others simply copied it. It gutted the primary source of revenue for artists overnight. Compounding this was a second systemic failure, the absence of a functioning royalty system. For decades, radio and TV stations played music constantly without paying the creators. The laws existed on paper, but enforcement was missing.
ስለዚህ የዚህ አሁን ዛሬ የተመሰረተው የሙዚቀኞችን የሮያሊቲ ክፍያ ሰብስቦ ለባለሙያዎቹ መልሶ የሚያከፋፍል በባለሙያዎች የተቋቋመ ማህበር።
Artist associations fought for years to create a system to collect these fees, a battle they are only beginning to win now. This created a landscape with no safety net, no professional labels to invest in talent, no managers to guide careers. Artists were left to become their own producers, marketers, and distributors, a burden that stifles creativity. The consequences of this broken system are profound. A generation of talent has been discouraged. Albums go unmade and creativity is compromised, often replaced by a desperate chase for formulaic hits that might go viral. Artists have been forced to sell personal assets just to fund a project they know will be stolen the moment it's released. The human cost is a silent brain drain from one of the country's most important cultural sectors. But the story doesn't end there. After years of advocacy, there are signs of structural change. The official establishment of a collective management organization, the EMCCMO, is a landmark step. New laws are finally compelling broadcasters to pay for the music they use, and technology, For so long, the villain of this story is also offering a potential lifeline. New platforms are creating legal digital marketplaces for music, and artists are using social media to connect directly with fans, bypassing the broken traditional system. The failure of the Ethiopian music industry was not a single event, but a long, slow decay caused by piracy, apathy, and a lack of structure. It left a legacy of struggling artists in a country that exports its music as a key cultural treasure. The new laws and new technologies are not a magic fix. Enforcement will be a challenge, and changing public behavior takes time. But for the first time in a long time, there is a blueprint for a better future. A future where artists can afford to create. Ultimately, achieving a true understanding of Ethiopia's cultural power means recognizing that its value lies not just in its history, but in the artists who are writing its future. And that future depends on whether they are finally given a system that allows them to thrive.